So tell us about Jade. Is this open source?
Yeah, so the Jade has open source software. You can take a look at it online. It's developed by Blockstream. So Blockstream made this product as sort of their attempt at a hardware wallet and the whole point of hardware wallets, we'll take a quick step back here. The whole point of a hardware wallet is you start your Bitcoin journey and you start with apps on your phone, right? You get a Blue wallet on your phone. You get you might even start with like a Strike, a custodial wallet. Then you get a self-custody wallet on your phone. But eventually you have too much money on your phone, right? You're sitting here, you're going, I've got like 500, I got $1,000, I got $2,000 on my phone. And A, I don't want to carry it around with me everywhere I go. But B, my phone is an internet connected device, right? And the internet is the Wild West. And so I want to have all the functionality on my phone. I want to be able to check my balance. I want to see inbound transactions. I want to, keep an eye on everything. But I don't really want my phone to have the keys to the castle. I don't want it to have my 12-word seed, which is the, your password to your Bitcoin. And if anybody gets your 12-word seed, they can log in to your 12-word seed and take all of your Bitcoins.
So if you download a hardware wallet on your phone and you type your keys into your phone, right? Because it's going to force you to enter in your keys. And then that wallet's on your phone. Those keys are actually stored on the chip of your phone, correct? They're stored on that device.
So if you do a software wallet, the only correction is software wallet. So when you download like Blue Wallet, a software wallet, you say generate a 12-word seed, or you want to log into a 12-word seed. Yes, the 12 words are stored on your phone, and usually there's a secure element on your phone, but it's still on your phone. And that phone is an internet connected device, right? It's on the Wild West of the internet. So whereas the opposite is using a hardware wallet, where all the information about your wallet is on your phone, except the 12-word seed. The 12-word seed is on a separate device that not connects to the internet. There's a term called air-gapped, where we try to create distance between the 12-word seed and the hardware wallet and your internet-connected phone or laptop. And on your hardware wallet, you also have a screen on your wallet that lets you verify where you're sending the Bitcoin to and how much. So if your wallet, because you still need an internet device to access Bitcoin, to access the internet, to send the transaction. You can't get away from the internet entirely. You need an internet connection device. And so, but what if you say, hey, I want to send, 10,000 Satoshis or 100,000 Satoshis to this Bitcoin address, but your whole phone has a virus on it, it's lying to you, and it's actually sending a whole bunch of Bitcoin to the developer's address. And so on the screen of these wallets not only store the 12-word seed, the most important part, but they also have a screen for double checking that this is what we're actually doing, and you double check on the hardware device. And so by creating that space between the devices, you have a lot more confidence that if anything happens to your phone or your laptop, you get a virus, somebody steals it, anything happens, they don't have the most important part, which is the 12-word seed. And so that's what hardware wallets do. And the Jade wallet is a really easy to use, entry-level Bitcoin wallet. It's cost effective. We sell them for $94 with taxes and import and everything. It's got a small screen. It's got small battery, small controls. So it's maybe not a wallet you want to be using every day all the time, or if you're trying to do some more advanced functionality, double checking the quality of other wallets, doing more sophisticated things, we don't recommend it for that. But for the entry-level Bitcoiner that is a little uncomfortable with how much Bitcoin they have on their phone or their computer, and they say, hey, I just want to separate. I want to have a separation here. The Jade is the go-to, and so it's a great product. We sell a decent amount of them. The other thing the Jade supports is it supports Bitcoin Liquid, which is super cool. And Bitcoin Liquid is a layer 2 on top of Bitcoin, just like Bitcoin Lightning, and it's designed for sending any amount of money, whereas Lightning is designed for small amounts of money. Bitcoin Liquid is designed for any amount of money, with a different sets of trade-offs, basically no fees, 1-minute confirmations. Bitcoin Liquid has a different set of trade-offs, but it fixes some frustrations that people have with real on-chain Bitcoin, especially as real on-chain Bitcoin fees go up. So, right now everything's kind of cool, everything's fine, but when Bitcoin fees are $100, Bitcoin Liquid's going to be your friend. And so the Jade supports Liquid right out of the box with no changes or anything like that. So that's a great feature of the Jade.
That's huge.
Yeah, and I imagine in the future, Bitcoin Lightning will be your everyday wallet. That'll be what you're using on a regular basis. And then, Liquid will sort of be in the middle, will be actually the bulk of your transaction. You know, you get your paycheck on Liquid, you pay your rent on Liquid, you do your sort of large transactions that you wouldn't do on Lightning, because Lightning is designed for sort of small transactions. You do the meat of your, your paycheck comes on Liquid, you pay your rent on Liquid, you pay this on Liquid, you pay that on Liquid, you then use Liquid to refill your Lightning wallet, and then your on-chain is sort of your long-term savings. You'll probably transact on-chain once or twice a year in the future, because it may cost $100 to make a Bitcoin transaction, and I welcome that. That's not something that I'm super scared of, because Bitcoin fees being higher means that Bitcoin is being used. It's useful. It's a healthy competition for the system. When I see Bitcoin fees at 25 cents, I go, no one actually using this Bitcoin thing? Is anybody using it?
Yep.
So I, as frustrating as it is to see high Bitcoin fees, the technology is here so that, on-chain transactions are reserved for those who need it most. And so Bitcoin Liquid's really exciting. It has some trade-offs. It has security trade-offs. It's not as trustless as a Bitcoin is. It has some definite trade-offs, and it's good to understand what they are, just like Lightning does. But it has a place in your future. And we teach a class here. It's called When Liquid Replaces On-Chain, understanding the trade-offs and understanding how Liquid fits in. It won't replace on-chain, but when it does for some of your transactions. So that's the Blockstream Jade, and let's take a look.
So first thing I want to point out to the audience is these are your manufacturer seals. So if you ever get a product from Jade, right, we want to make sure that these are still intact, right?
And the whole box is intact, the edges, everything. The product comes in a cellophane plastic seal.
Yep.
But then these seals are also intended to show that the product hasn't been opened, it hasn't been touched. And any products you buy from the Bitcoin Hardware store, we check them as well before we put them on our shelves. But you definitely want to check when you get home for any sort of supply chain shenanigans to make sure you actually have an authentic Jade product. And we are an authorized distributor of Jade products, so they FedEx them directly to our store. So it goes from their office through FedEx directly to us. So we have the least amount of hands touching the products.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to have even less hands, you can buy direct from Jade, and they ship direct to your house. But here in El Salvador, shipping can be a little bit tricky, and so our store is really handy for that. Also, when you buy from our store, you can buy without providing your home address information, right? So one of the great features about buying from our store is, you're not having something shipped to your house or to your office. You're not in any database. You can pay with cash or with Bitcoin Lightning or with on-chain or with credit card if you really want. We're not collecting your name, email, personal information. We don't have a database of our customers. And so a lot of customers come to our store because they say, hey, I want to buy this, but I don't really want to be in some guy's database as owning an expensive hardware wallet. And I'm not trying to hide anything. It's just nobody's business. And so we have a lot of customers that do that. And so we try to respect the supply chain as much as possible. But yeah, definitely important to check those seals. Yeah, give it a... The Blockstream Jade is very light. Very, very light product. Very lean product. One of the features of the Jade is because it's so small, it's easy to conceal. That's definitely one of the great features of the product. Whereas some of the other wallets just can start to get a little bit bigger. They can be twice or 5 times the size, 10 times the size. With the Jade, it's very small, very easy to conceal, which is great. Comes with a USB cord to connect to your computer. And some manuals and information. You'll notice inside there's also your seed phrase sheet inside there. So if you just take a look, it's, keep going. You've got, there you go. And this is the one. So when you set up your Jade, when you do your setup, one of the first things it's going to do is say, do you have a 24-word seed, or would you like us to create one for you? And so if you're new, if you're just getting started, you'll say, I want to create one for me. Now, even if you have a seed with a Blue wallet or another wallet or any other hardware wallet, your job as the protector of that seed is to reduce seed contamination, right? Okay. You never want to contaminate your seed by letting other people see it, letting us, or anybody at the store see it. We don't allow live seeds in the store, only practice seeds. So one thing is, although you have a 24-word seed, maybe with your Blue wallet or with some other wallet, you want to set up a fresh one with your Jade, one that's only been seen by Jade and Jade hardware. So if there ever is an issue, you're the least contaminated, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so, although you may have a seed already from another wallet, every time you get a new wallet, you want to start a fresh seed on that wallet. The only time you really want to enter a seed into enter an existing seed into a new wallet is if something malfunctioned with the Jade, it got damaged, and you're like, hey, I need to reaccess my Bitcoin. So you'd buy another Jade and restore from it. But generally, you always want to start a fresh seed on your Bitcoin journey. You're going to have lots of seeds. That's okay. They're like gift cards, kind of disposable. And so you'll want to write that down here and then keep this somewhere super, super safe. Now at the Bitcoin hardware store, we sell seed metal. Do you want to touch on seed metal right now?
Yeah, sure. Just go ahead.
Okay, so we sell seed metal, and so this piece of paper you're going to write down your 24 words on, and that's great to have it as a piece of paper somewhere safe. We recommend putting them in a Ziploc bag, a waterproof freezer bag, and keep it somewhere safe in your house or wherever you want to keep it. You can also have 2 copies of it, so you can have one in a safe place and one, in a safety deposit box at the bank or something like that. Whatever your setup is and your comfort levels are. You don't want to have it in too many places, because if you have it in a lot of different places, every place is a risk, where if somebody finds it, they can access your Bitcoin.
Yep.
But you don't want to have it in too few places in case you lose it or it's damaged. Now, one thing though with paper is that paper burns, it can get wet, ink can fade, and you have a lot of paper in your house in general. You have a lot of paper in your life. And so as you have an amount of money on your Jade or on your 12 or 24 word seed, you're going to want to, you're going to start to get a little bit uncomfortable about how much money you have on a sheet of paper. Because remember, you've got the Jade and you've got the paper. So it's in 2 places, right? But really the paper is on top of the Jade, because if you lose the Jade or it malfunctions or anything like that, you can type those words in on any other device in any other wallet in an emergency. It's totally compatible across the different devices. That's called the BIP39 standard. And that piece of, eventually you might say, I got thousands of dollars on this piece of paper in my sock drawer. I'm getting a little bit nervous. House fires are how houses, eventually fall down usually as they burn to the ground. And so, we sell a whole bunch of seed metal at the hardware store. And so this is an example one. And you can see people have imprinted all kinds of fun stuff here. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges, Heart TBHS. And so you can buy sheets of metal and engrave your words into the metal. And then if you have a problem, if you have a flood, a storm, a fire in your house, your metal is far more protected against that, and you have a chance at recovering it. And so you can either use a letter punch kit to letter punch them into the metal, and that's what I recommend, or we have engraving kits which lightly engrave them into it. You can see people have just been having fun in the store engraving this. And so this is what a blank one looks like. We sell them here. This is made in El Salvador. They're just $12. We sell these stainless steel pieces. Now, some people like titanium and other really, really hard metals. The harder the metal, the harder it is to engrave. The softer the metal, the more it might be malleable, right? So we like stainless steel. There's obviously different types of stainless steel, but we just get a local stainless steel here, and they're a great product.
Yeah, absolutely. A stainless steel inside a fire retardant safe.
Totally. You're in great shape. You'll sleep like a baby, and that's the important thing. You want to sleep better. And then we also have some other seed metal products here. Pull this one out. This is from COINKITE. It's a great product. It's all pre-engraved here, and you can see that for each word you've got the number here. So word number 1, word number 2, word number 3, word number 4, and then you've got all the letters down on the y-axis here. Now, something that you might notice right away is that there's only 4 columns for each letter. Why is that? Because the BIP39 standard that works across almost all hardware and software wallets, it doesn't use all English words. The word list that it uses, we actually don't need all 60,000 English words, however many there are. The word list, I think, is only 2,000 or 3,000 words. And so because of that, the first 4 letters differentiate each word. So that's all you need. The next product is from Cedar. And so similar concept. And you've got this pill bottle shaped container here. And you have a series of washers. And each one of these washers represents a word. And so there's a whole kit they sell for engraving the letters and the numbers onto here. So you'd go 01 DOOR, and then you'd get the next one 02 SPOT, and whatever your whole seed phrase would then get engraved on each one of these. And what's nice about these is that if an attacker, there's a concept called the evil maid attack, and that's the idea of someone's in your house, could be a plumber, a maid, anybody. Someone's in your house, and somebody's in your house, and they find one of these. Well, they can just very quickly take a picture of it, put it right back, and you don't even know that it has happened, right? Whereas with something like this, they have to unscrew it, lay out all of the pieces, take a picture, and then put it all back without you noticing. And most of the time, they don't, you don't necessarily have that much time in someone's private space. And so it's also obscured physically, like you can't see the product, you can't see what's inside. It just kind of looks like something weird. You can put a seal, and we have a little.
No, I wonder if it flew away.
Fallen again. Yeah, we have a little stickers, and they're just sort of generic stickers that have a unique number on them. But you can, I'll show you let's take a look here. So Cedar comes with these little stickers, and if you can see, there's a unique number right there. I'm not sure you can see that.
06755 or 0670.
And so each one has a fun number, and you can imagine these aren't impossible to duplicate, right? Highly sophisticated, but you can do it your own way. You could put a sticker on with your signature. You could do something with a wax stamp. I've heard of glitter as well, glitter nail polish, and then you take a picture of it. And so even if somebody puts new glitter nail polish on, it will look a little different. You can't re-glitter nail polish something exactly the same. And so there's all kinds of ways that you can seal this in effect, and make sure that no one's opened it, or at least you're aware.
Absolutely.
If someone's opened it, you're in trouble, right? You're already in trouble. But what would be worse is if someone opened it and had access to it and decides they're not going to attack you just yet. They're going to wait until you keep stacking and attack you in a couple years. And so at least having the knowledge is super important. If you think there's been some compromise, you can sort of take action. And so those are all the seed metal products, and we highly recommend that as time goes on, you go ahead and engrave your seed into metal, and don't just rely on paper, because paper is not perfect. But let's take a look. Let's go back to the jade itself. So you pull the jade out of the packaging. Hold on, give me a second. It's getting stuck here. Pull the jade out of the packaging here. And this is the device. It has 3 buttons and 1 USB-C port. It's USB-C, which is super handy as we try to USB-C our lives here.
Yep.
And it's got a display. The display actually reads like that when you're using it. It's got a joystick. You can go left and right, and you can go in, button here, and power button here. Okay. And so that's what the Jade looks like. As you can see, it's very small. It does not take up very much space. It has an onboard battery, so I'm going to turn it on. I think they come with a little bit of battery.
Well, here we should USB-C to USB-C.
Yeah. Here we go with the Blockstream Jade turning on. And you can see you've got a few options here. You can set up the Jade. You can scan a CDOR to log in. Got some options. And you can see that it's uninitialized. Now, actually, with the Jade, you're going to do the setup. You're going to start the setup on your computer. You're not going to start the setup on here. So what we'll do is we'll go onto your... I like to do it on a computer. You can do it on a tablet or a mobile device as well. I just find it's a little bit easier on the computer. And because the Jade is targeted towards... users that Jade is a general purpose hardware wallet. The computer's a great place to get it all set up. So we'll go on the computer here. So you connect the Jade via USB, and the first thing you want to do, although it says set up Jade here, the first thing you're going to do is load the Jade software on your computer.
Okay.
And so you'll connect it to your computer, and
so is this a air-gapped crypto wallet or no? Because
so there is different ways to do it. The Jade by default likes to use either Bluetooth or USB. That's the default easiest way to set it up. Okay, and so it's not fully air-gapped. So one thing, and the Jade has the technical ability because it has the camera and the screen to be fully air-gapped. The best way to have air-gapped is to communicate through partial Bitcoin barcodes. And so what happens is you have on your computer, you have your wallet software. It knows everything about your wallet because it has the XPub from your hardware wallet. It knows everything about your wallet. You build a transaction, say I want to send this much Bitcoin to this person. The wallet does everything, builds the transaction, but it can't finish it. It can't sign the transaction. And so what it does is it shows what's called a partially signed Bitcoin transaction, but it's really it's PSBT is the technical term, but really it shows you a barcode or QR code version of an unfinished Bitcoin transaction. And it says, okay, this is as far as I can get. I got lots of information, but I don't have the signature. And so it shows you this unfinished QR code. You take your hardware wallet, scan that, and so what's nice about using QR codes is that it's auditable. We know what they're saying, right? With USB, Bluetooth, NFC, I don't know what they're saying, right? What are they saying to each other? I have no way of double checking. When you use the barcode system, the QR code system, your wallet will show you this unfinished QR code. You can use any device, any camera, any other device to say what's in that barcode, and you can double check to make sure that there isn't some malware in that QR code that's trying to attack your hardware wallet. And so you take your hardware wallet if you're satisfied with the QR code, read the QR code, the information will come into your hardware wallet. You will verify where you're sending the Bitcoin and how much Bitcoin you're sending, and then you'll hit sign and maybe enter your password on your wallet, and then your wallet will show you the finished QR code, and you'll show that back to your computer. Your computer, you can double check and make sure again that that's where the problem would be, because maybe that has that has information about your seed going back to your internet device, but you can use another camera and check to see what it's saying. If you're satisfied with it, you show it to your computer, and then it's communicated with auditable barcodes, and then your computer would send that transaction out to the internet. And that's the best, most secure way to do it. But there's a little bit of back and forth required. You're sort of playing with barcodes, and again, because the default way and the easiest way that we found to set up the Jade is with the USB. It's a device that's a little bit easier, entry-level device, and we don't. So
to go full air gap, basically, you have different levels. This is an entry starter.
Yeah,
it's simple. This is the way that it's recommended to be set up. Super simple USB.
Super simple.
If you're really going to want to go true air gap, like myself, you're going to store a lot of Bitcoin on one wallet. This is
the Cold Card Q,
and it's a couple $100 more, but it's worth its weight in gold, because
if you're securing amounts of money that
are substantial,
you want to know what your internet device and your secure device are saying to each other. You don't want there to be any, I can't see what's happening with this USB cord, I don't know what they're saying to each other, and I want to know, even if I don't actually audit the QR codes. The idea of communicating via QR code to me is a lot more fair, a lot more transparent, no secrets between the devices. And so, you'll download the Blockstream Green software. It'll take you through the setup. So we're here. We've connected our devices. We've connected our two devices. So I'm going to search for the Blockstream Green wallet, and that's their companion software. Another reason why the Jade is really easy to use is because they make companion software. Now, absolute best, you don't have to use their companion software, and absolute best security practices are that the hardware wallet and the internet wallet are made by different manufacturers to sort of further eliminate any type of collusion or any funny business, any trickery. And so, but Blockstream Green, again, trying to be a product that's approachable and easy to use for 6 billion people on Earth. They make this wallet called Blockstream Green. And so we'll click into this wallet. Takes you right here. First option, download now. You'll want to make sure that you're actually on blockstream.com. That's a really important thing, is that you're actually on blockstream.com. And so we'll hit download now. We hit download now, and it'll actually download the software onto your computer. You can see the download software. It's going to take a couple minutes. And once it's downloaded, it will take you through a bunch of screens to set up your wallet. Again, your seed phrase and all that information will only be on you'll only see that on this screen, because that information doesn't get communicated here. But the XPub will be communicated through the USB cord. Okay. And it may also do some updates, might do some firmware updates to make sure you're running the latest version before you get started. That's why I like to start this process on the computer, not on the Jade.
Let's do it.
So it's just downloading right now. We'll just give it 1 second. 1 minute left.
Beautiful. This is awesome.
So we'll just take Blockstream Green and we'll add it to your applications. I think it was that quick.
Yeah, it is instant.
And then I'll just eject. We'll go here to applications, and here's Blockstream Green. So we'll open up Blockstream Green. Okay, a hardware wallet is connected. So a new device has been detected. Please press setup to start using it. So we'll hit setup Jade. Okay, so now you have two options here. You can set up the Jade or do a firmware update. And I would recommend that the first thing you do is a firmware update. We found that sometimes if there's still a firmware update, you're not running the latest firmware, it's always a good idea. So we'll say hit firmware update. And so to keep your Jade secure, we're going to update to version 1.0.32. We're going to hit continue, and it's going to start updating the firmware.
Now when it's
give us
updating the firmware, will we see? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll
Look at
start.
that. See
Yes,
that,
it's
guys?
downloading it onto your computer and then sending. And this is another benefit of using the USB connection is you can get it updated very easily to the latest software. And on the computer, you can see that we were running version 29 and we're getting upgraded to version 32. It also shares the hash of the update. So if you wanted to, you could compare that hash with the published hash on their website to make sure that or have greater confidence that you're installing the right software. Now it says, please follow the instructions on your hardware wallet.
Okay.
So we're going to take a look here. And the joystick here,
Yep.
the joystick here is your friend. So I don't know if you can see, but right now we're actually on the back button. So we're going to go joystick over to the checkmark button. Again, it's saying we're starting with version 29, we're upgrading to version 32,
Yep.
and it gives you sort of a preview of the hash. So I moved over from the back over to the checkmark button, and then I'm going to push the joystick in. Oh, and then I got to push this button over here. There we go. And so now it's doing it. So as you can see,
Really quick, too.
things have to be approved on the device. You know, the device is it's very sort of consent based, and so you need to, you have to approve changes on here. They can talk to each other, but the device is very weary of who it's talking to. It takes an adversarial approach, so it knows that your computer may have a virus on it. There may be some virus on here trying to swap out your Bitcoin address, trying to install dirty firmware. All these devices sort of take an adversarial approach. It doesn't trust anything. And so again, it comes up, it says, okay, we're doing this version, this is the hash of the update we're doing. Are you sure? This is what you want to do? Okay, we'll install this software on the Jade. And so it just takes a couple minutes. Updating. And something you want to watch out for whenever you're updating any devices, make sure you got a good internet connection, your computer doesn't go to sleep, that kind of stuff. Right now we're outside, so you want to make sure you're moving your mouse around, make sure your computer doesn't go to sleep. You can run into some trouble. We've had some customers in the middle of updating, and their computer went to bed or their internet turned off, and it was sort of interrupted. So just want to make sure that you're when you're updating firmware on any device, Bitcoin wallet or not, that it's uninterrupted as much as possible. So firmware is updated. And so you can see the screen's a little bit different now, which is kind of cool. We're now running version 1.0.32. So now we're updated, we're ready to go. And so again, I'm on the computer now, I'm gonna hit Setup Jade. And so it's giving us an option. We can either create a new 24-word seed or we can restore a 24-word seed, only from a previous Jade ideally. Yeah. But again, BIP39 standard works across, so you can crisscross if you need to. But we're gonna hit Setup Jade.
Then I have to hit continue on here to confirm it.
Yeah, let's hit continue.
Begin your setup.
Yep, begin setup.
Create a new wallet.
Create a new wallet. And now we're going to go through our words here.
Yep.
Now, we actually do need to write these down because it's going to test us.
Yes, that's what it came with, so.
Yep. So then we'll write down the recovery. So now it's giving us 4 words at a time. And again, you want to make sure you're doing this not on camera.
Yep.
With nobody behind you, nobody else in your house. You don't want to say the words out loud, No ocean, lizard, stick. You don't want to be doing that, okay?
Yeah.
Because
don't take any pictures on any device.
Any pictures, no screenshots. Your job is to protect this from being contaminated in any way. And so contamination means somebody else seeing it some other way. Now we're doing this one on camera.
Yep.
This is a test one for fun. So we got cameras, cameras and everything. That's fine.
We're throwing this out.
Exactly. But at the Bitcoin hardware store, we don't let you bring any seeds in, and you can't. So we won't help you set up your seeds. We won't help you with this process because then you'd be contaminating the seed. We have seen it. We don't. That's bad practice, and we don't want the liability. So we're going to start here. I'm going to go. Our first word is ocean.
While he's writing those down, I'm going to explain to you guys. So when I went to NFT NYC in 2020 to film for their event, there were people that were having their crypto wallets drained at these events. And what these hackers will do is they'll go into a Holiday Inn and they'll use their own router and they'll broadcast out free Wi-Fi, free Holiday Inn Wi-Fi. You connect to that thinking that it's Holiday Inn's Wi-Fi because you're staying at Holiday Inn, but really it's the hacker's Wi-Fi. And you're going through and you're approving things. You think you're approving to join network, but really what you're doing is you're approving to give them access to your device. And once they have access to your device, if you stored this in your notes, which is the number one thing I hear people do, I had my seed phrase saved in my notepad on my phone, and the hackers drained their wallet. Super, super important. Or they took a photo of it and they got it out of their photo album.
Yeah.
And they can do that actually just by walking by you.
Yeah. And the other one that's super dangerous at events like this is, so let's say Holiday Inn has a Wi-Fi network called Holiday Inn, and that's what it's called, right? What stops me from creating another network called Holiday Inn? Nothing. Same thing. And the way a mesh network works, like in a library or a big building, is you've got a bunch of access points all broadcasting the same network name, and your device actually will connect to multiple at the same time and will automatically move between them, right? That's how you have the same Wi-Fi across a whole hotel resort or something. And so they'll just spin up a router with the same information. It's not even about accepting or declining. Your device is already friendly with that network name. And so you need to be, at Bitcoin events and security events, you need to be very careful. Now, of course, your device needs to have other flaws in it too. Like just connecting to a network in itself isn't enough. There's other flaws, but once they've got you on their network, they can start to pen test and try different things on your devices and do all kinds of things. And so when you're at Bitcoin conferences, you probably don't want to use the Wi-Fi. In some cases, the best advice I've heard is just don't bring your high security devices to the conference at all, because there are hackers and they're trying to have fun, they're trying to mess around, and they're in some cases trying to steal. So it looks like the default here on the new version of Jade is just 12 words, which is nice and easy. It's also great for guys. Exactly. So now it's going to start testing. So now it's going to start testing me to make sure that I have written down the words as I said I did. So we're going to confirm word number 2. Is word number 2, is it enroll? Is it wonder? Or is it lizard? And it is. It's lizard. So I'm going to click OK. Confirm word number 5. Word number 5. Is it miss? Is it burden? Is it ocean? Is it lizard? Is it there? Is it night? It's night. And the reason it's doing this is it wants to make sure it's in your best interest to make sure you actually wrote down the words. So many people just say, yeah, I wrote it down, do it later. And then they lose their device, something happens, they've spent money on it. You know, if it was $500 5 years ago, all of a sudden it's a lot of money. Yep. And they don't write down the words. And so it's so important to actually do it. And so these devices, they're doing you a favor, honestly, when they make you do this. So confirm word number 9. Is it burden? It's there. That's word number 9. Confirm word number 10. Is it miss? Is it lizard? Is it wonder? Is it ocean? Is it enroll? What is word number 10? Oh, no. Word number 10 is enroll. Okay, so now it believes that I wrote it down. Didn't check every word. It just checked a handful of them, gave me some false, some fake answers, and I passed the test. So now I need to set a PIN for my device. So this is going to be the device. If someone steals this device and they have access to your online device and they have access to your Jade, this is sort of the final check that you are the authorized user on the Jade. So the Jade itself has a password to release and sign transactions. So I'm just going to set the password as 1. Is 1.
Take go. Something right.
And we're doing a demo. Do not use this password to brag.
Okay.
We're going to do all ones here to make it nice and easy.
No, I'd love to keep in touch, and like I was saying to Jamie too, like we talk more.
It's going to make me do it one more time. Now this PIN is the PIN code specific to this device. So your 12-word seed is now on your piece of paper, and it's on the device. So if you lose the device, you don't need to remember the PIN. The PIN is just specific to the copy of the words on this device. So you don't need to write down the PIN somewhere else. All you need are the 12 words to recover your Bitcoin. This is just the PIN to access the copy of the 12 words that's stored on this device, if that makes sense.
Yes.
There we go. Now, at the same moment that I set the PIN up, now I'm logged in. You can see it says active there. It's got some information. And over here on this side, it's loading the wallet. So what's happening now is the Jade has a 12-word seed. It's all ready to go. It's been set up. It's initialized a 12-word seed. And a 12-word seed is like an ancestry tree. The 12-word seed is at the top. It's the most important thing. Then your hardware wallet logs into the seed. And from that ancestry tree is all of your possible Bitcoin addresses and the private keys associated with each Bitcoin address. It gets kind of complicated, but just remember that the 12-word seed is at the top. One piece of information that comes down from the 12-word seed is the XPub. The XPub shares all of your Bitcoin addresses and all of the information about your wallet without sharing the private part, the seed phrase or the password. And so your Jade has just shared the XPub with your computer. And so now your computer is aware of all of your Bitcoin addresses, can look up your Bitcoin transactions. It sees everything about your wallet just from that XPub, which is a derivative of the 12-word. You can go down the ancestry tree. I can go from 12-word seed to XPub to Bitcoin addresses, but I can't go up. I can't go from a Bitcoin address to an XPub, and I can't go from an XPub to a 12-word seed. Okay. And so the Jade has not shared the 12-word seed with the computer, we certainly hope, but it has shared the XPub, so now the Jade is aware of all the possible Bitcoin addresses. So now we're in the wallet software here. Now the rest of the process is going to happen on your computer now. Okay. Now we've got the seed created. We're going to flip it over here, keep it nice and safe. Of course, we've kind of contaminated this one, but that's a demo. In general, now you'd put this in a Ziploc bag, a fireproof safe, get it somewhere as safe as possible now. And then the Jade you can keep more accessible. Maybe you want it in the same safe. Yeah. You want it more accessible because the Jade is what you're going to use on a regular basis now. But on your computer here, you're going to go create account. You've got some different options here. I'm just going to go standard Bitcoin wallet. There's some extra options for multi-sig and extra options here, but we won't explain that right at the beginning here. But the starter wallet, you just want a standard Bitcoin wallet, and we'll hit continue. And now it's created my Bitcoin wallet here. And so I can see I have 0 Bitcoin, unfortunately. I've got the Jade here. This is the serial number of the Jade, and you see that in the top corner here.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right?
I'm B74604. That's my Jade, right? So I always want to make sure whenever I connect, I'm talking to the right Jade. I have multiple Jades, sure. And so that's the Jade we're talking about. I think you have an option to rename it. And then inside your Bitcoin wallet, obviously we have the transactions. Sadly, we have no Bitcoin transactions. Mm-hmm. We have a Bitcoin address here. This is the first Bitcoin address in the set of Bitcoin addresses that's derived from the XPub, that's derived from the 12-word seed. And if I want, I can hit receive in here. And there's my first Bitcoin address. And now I can receive Bitcoin. I don't need the Jade to do that. I can do that right on my computer. Of course, I can receive Bitcoin. We'd love to have more Bitcoin. There's no issue there. But I can start receiving Bitcoin. And then once I have some Bitcoin, I can hit send Bitcoin. And I can start to build a transaction here. And when I go to send Bitcoin, I'll choose I want to send Bitcoin, where I want to, what Bitcoin address I want to send, how much Bitcoin I want to send. I can set my network fee depending on how busy the network is. And then I hit next, and we'll go through the process of signing a transaction. So what we're doing right now is we're sending in some Bitcoin into our Jades and test Bitcoin.
So now what I'm doing is I'm using a QR code that's on the screen here to scan it with my phone.
Yep.
I'm going to choose on-chain, which is only $13.50, so it's not horrible.
Okay, cool. So we just sent some, first thing, once you set up your wallet, first thing you need to do is now receive some Bitcoin. Right? You can't send Bitcoin out securely until you receive some. So now you got to go onto your favorite Bitcoin exchange, your local meetup, wherever you acquire Bitcoin ATMs. They're easy to use, but they're expensive. Wherever you acquire Bitcoin, now is the time to buy some Bitcoin, and then make sure you withdraw it to your first Bitcoin address that's derived from your Jade. Okay. And so you'll withdraw that Bitcoin and get that Bitcoin onto your Jade. And actually at that point, you're good, right? Your Bitcoin is secure, it's on the Jade. The 12-word seed it's been generated by a secure device, completely offline. And you've got your backup somewhere safe, and that's it for the long haul. I usually like to write down my first Bitcoin address. If I know I'm going to be making a couple of buys, you can, especially in a short period of time, you can, reuse the address and have, a couple of buys all get sent to the same address. It all ends up in the same place on the Jade. Long term, you don't want to do address reuse. You don't want to keep reusing it for long periods of time. There are some other implications there that are high tech, but you can reuse it a few times. If let's say you're buying $1,000 a day or a couple of days, you're doing like $1,000 a week or a month. You can reuse it a few times and keep sending it to the same address. So I usually like to, especially on my recovery sheet, on my piece of paper, I'll write down my 12 or 24 words, and then I'll write down the first Bitcoin address, like where the meat of the wallet is. And it's also helpful if I ever want to check the balance on another device or something like that, or my estate discovers the wallet, they'll be like, oh, what's this? And then they type that Bitcoin address in on any block explorer and see what the state of that is. So I usually like to do, the other thing I like to do is write my name, the date, this one says Jade on it, so it's fine, but I like to write some pertinent information about what this is. Because you can imagine if you were hit by a bus or fall ill, it might not be you doing this. And so you want to make sure that your loved ones are able to figure it out. And when you put your name on it too, it becomes very clear who the rightful owner is. So if somebody else does do it, they at least know it's like, clearly you stole James' Bitcoin, like you knew what you were doing. It said somebody else's name on there. It helps to just establish right from wrong.
Yep.
And so now, we've sent some Bitcoin in. It's going to take a minute or so to come in, and here we go. So now we can see
That's right there.
well, we can see it's been broadcast. So now the transaction's been broadcast. It's been relayed through all the nodes on the whole world. Everybody knows about the transaction, but it's still a pending transaction in the mempool. The miners are now working to confirm that transaction into the next block. They haven't done that yet, though. So you can see in your wallet, it says unconfirmed, okay? And so if someone was sending you money, buying a car off you or something important, you wouldn't let them drive off just yet. The transaction is still in the pending pool of temporary transactions, and it hasn't been confirmed by one of the Bitcoin miners and synced up into the blockchain's permanently. But within a few moments, let's just take a look. Keep an eye on the blockchain here, and within a couple of minutes, as of right now, it's been 2 minutes since the last block, so it's maybe it got bounced from that one. Let's just take a look here. It's just checking. Yeah, it's received, but it didn't get confirmed into that block.
And are you able to pull up mempool space right now
Yeah.
and watch that go into the block? And
100%. 100%. So when you are making a Bitcoin transaction, it's really important to keep an eye on something called the mempool. That's where the pending Bitcoin transactions go before they get confirmed into the blockchain. And this website is called mempool.space. It's just one website that lets you take a look at the mempool, but it's got a great display here. And on the left, these are all the Bitcoin pending transactions that have been sent out, like we just did, into our wallet, but they haven't been confirmed into the blockchain. These are, on the right here, are finished blocks. And each block cryptographically refers to the previous block. And you can see we've got block number 87909 was discovered by Bitcoin miners 3 minutes ago. And right now we've got all these are sort of the estimated blocks. These aren't actual blocks. These are estimated blocks that mempool is sort of estimating. Okay, if people attach a 30, it's called sat per byte, but we call that the multiplier. If people have a 30 sat per byte here, their transaction is probably going to be included in the next block here. And if they have a 27, they're going to be 2 blocks away. If they have a 23, and so this bidding system prioritizes, how high you are on the list to have your transaction confirmed. And a good analogy I heard a couple days ago at the Adopting Bitcoin conference from the folks in Honduras at Amity Age said, think of it like a bus stop. And the pending transactions are all the people waiting to get on the bus. But the way these buses work is it's whoever pays the highest fare gets to the front of the line. If someone is willing to pay a higher fare, they get to stand in front of you in the lineup for the bus. And the bus is only so big; it can only take so many people every 10 minutes. And so it's the same with Bitcoin. So these are all the buses that are approaching, and these are the buses that have left. This is what they have. This is the multiplier they paid. You can see right now, if you want to be on the next bus, you've got to pay a multiplier of 31, which in dollar terms is about $3.94 as your bus fare to get included into the blockchain. And that fee is paid to the Bitcoin miners. So the miner or mining pool who discovers or who becomes the next bus gets paid the 3 Bitcoins and all of the fees from all of the people, all of the transactions on their bus. And so right now with fees at 4, they'll get a sizable payout. Let's take a look at block number 80909. While we wait, they're supposed to be every 10 minutes. You can see the last one was about 16 minutes. The one before that was 9 minutes, 18 minutes, 3 minutes. That because there's no leader of the network, the miners are guessing and discovering the next block through a series of complicated mathematical challenges. It gets complicated quickly, but essentially, the more miners that are on, the more difficult it becomes, and they're trying to sort of guess the next block. There's an element of randomness in there. And so let's take a look at block number 80909. And you can see that the miners not only collected 3.125 Bitcoin, but they also collected 0.37 in Bitcoin fees. They made $34,000 US just in the fees that were attached to that transaction. And the total payout that the Foundry pool, that's one of the big mining pools in the USA, the total amount that they earned in that 10-minute window is 3.5 Bitcoins, 316,000 US dollars in that 10-minute window. Now, you can imagine that Foundry has a sizable operation, right? So they are, 316 grand is welcome, but not, they're certainly not, they pop in the champagne, that's expected. But one thing you notice here is that Foundry not only found block number 870309, but they found block number 879908 here too. And you can see how that is cause for concern. Foundry obviously has a pretty big operation. Let's just take a quick look back here. You can see there's a few other pools, F2 pool, Ant pool, Brain pool, Via pool. Well, there's Foundry again, and there's Foundry again, and there's Foundry again, and there's Foundry again. So let's say, for example, you were doing business with Foundry, and you sent them a Bitcoin transaction, or they sent you some Bitcoin, and it has one confirmation. You go, okay, great. Well, actually, they're responsible for the last 4 blocks. Now, they can't fabricate information, right? Okay, but there are certain things they can do, and as you learn more about the blockchain, there's some things they can do. Like, let's say they really didn't like you. They could exclude your transaction for 4 blocks. They could say, hey, you're on the OFAC list. We're Foundry USA. We don't mind OFAC censored transactions because of our obligations to our government. And, so for 4 blocks, you're trying to do, you're in a no-no country, and you're trying to do some Bitcoin transactions. You're a human being. Your transactions have been, your money's been blacklisted for whatever reason. I'm not going to speculate, but for 4 blocks, your transactions aren't getting confirmed because Foundry keeps discovering the blocks. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm sure the folks at Foundry are lovely. No issue with them specifically. But as you can see, in the interest of decentralization and, our goal to have a monetary system that has no leader, we don't like to see one mining group discovering 4 blocks in a row and then an hour later, 2 blocks in a row, right? That's not what we want to see. And so, this is their block that they mined. This was the template, so you can see these are all the individual transactions. Some transactions are standard size, and some transactions are quite large. They amalgamate lots of Bitcoin together. Now, the sizes of these transactions is not the amount of Bitcoin they're moving, but the textual size of the message. And so we can get deep into that, but the textual size of the message. So let's say you wanted to write a novel in your Bitcoin transaction. You totally can. You can put all kinds of information in it, but you're going to pay fair fees. And so there's a lot of beef about that right now. About, should non-financial data be included in the blockchain, or should it just be transactions? Personally, it's a supply and demand system. You want to pay for the data to be included?
True.
Who am I to discriminate against how do I know something's financial or not financial? Right? If I'm sending you 1 cent, how do you know that cent doesn't represent something else anyway in the real world? You don't know that. So, because we have no way of discerning what is actually being communicated in the blockchain at the end of the day anyway, it looks like Bitcoin's moving from one account to another account, but there could be something else going on. And I'm actually excited about the non-financial uses of the blockchain. I think it's an interesting, it's very interesting. Blockchain represents truth. We've brought truth to money. What else can we bring truth to? Without getting into other blockchains and other monetary systems, I think we should be trying to establish more truth. And I think the world could use a little more truth. And so establishing truth on the blockchain, there's open timestamps. There's a whole bunch of different projects out there that are trying to anchor truth into the blockchain, taking up very little amounts of data. It just looks like a standard Bitcoin. It doesn't need to be one of these big blocks of massive amounts of data. It can just be a standard Bitcoin transaction. But what other truths can we anchor in the blockchain? That's an exciting thing for me to think about. It's something I'm always brainstorming. But let's take a look and see how we're doing. Let's go back to the mempool.com.
And how did you say that you were able to see the transaction in there? Like, where was it? How do you know where it's at? Or how do you know that
where our transactions at? So what I do is let's go back to, this is our transaction here.
Yep.
And we can open up the transaction. And you can see that there's the unconfirmed, there's the amount, there's an estimated dollar amount, there's a network fee. We're at 35 as our multiplier. Right? And stats provided as the technical term, but I just use the term multiplier. It's easier to think about. So it's expensive. If you want to pay a 2 or 3 multiplier, we're paying 35. We did actually pay quite a bit for this transaction. But the network's busy right now, and we're in demand. We're rolling, and we want it to happen, right? And so and if I'm sending Bitcoin from myself, from my phone wallet to my cold wallet, I can wait until tomorrow. I'll pay a crappy fee. Yep. I'll underpay, but we want this to happen, and certain people do, and supply and demand. You can see the Bitcoin address that it was sent to, and you can see something called the transaction ID. And this is a unique identifier that is hashed from the transaction. And so I'll copy that. And we'll go back to Mempool. Mempool is a great website for searching information on the blockchain. And I'm going to paste that there. And I'm going to hit search. And here we go. I'm looking at this from the public lens, not inside my wallet. Anybody on Earth can see this. And you can see that again, it's still on this side. You can see where the arrow is. It's unconfirmed. It hasn't been confirmed or synced into a block. And it's unconfirmed. It's still over here. This little arrow indicates that Mempool's estimate is that it's going to be in the next block. It's not on this block, or this block. The fee is a 35, right? And it's the last one was taking 34s. The next block, you only need 32 to get in that. You'd have to be at 29 to get down there. But in this block, I can see that Bitcoin was moving from this Bitcoin address, which is my Bitcoin address, into this Bitcoin address. That's the Bitcoin address. And if you look at this, so all Bitcoin transactions, when you get right down into it, have what are called inputs and outputs. They reference previous Bitcoin. They say, hey, I got some Bitcoin here, and I want to send some Bitcoin here. It's pretty simple. And most Bitcoin transactions are what's called a threefer, which means you have some Bitcoin. You can think of it as like a bill, like a $20 bill. Let's say this is a 50.
Yeah.
This is a $50 bill, and we broke the bill. We sent $25 to our new Jade wallet.
Yeah.
And the chain, because when you break a bill, you have to use a bill in its entirety, just like a normal bill. The change goes back, and you see this. Well, this address is different than this address because in your wallet you tons of addresses, but that's the change that's going back, and we can double check this. So 4x 4ff, xe2xd. Let's go back to our wallet software. Aha, received on the address 4x 4ff. So that is our Bitcoin address. I go on our Jade wallet software. I can hit addresses here, and you can see now. There's my Bitcoin address, and I've got some future Bitcoin addresses that I can use. But I know that I control 4x4ff. That is derived from my XPub, which is derived from my 12-word seed. And so anybody in the world can see this now. There's a visualization of
How did it know that the return address was different? How did it know what address
your wallet, when your wallet makes a send transaction, one of the things your wallet software, so my wallet on my phone, I have a mobile wallet on my phone. Inside that wallet, when I specify the from, the to, the amount, and the fee, but my wallet in the background also specifies the change address. It does that automatically.
Okay.
There's actually a fifth element. It's where do you want the change to go? But you don't have any control. The wallet just takes care of it.
Yes.
What does it matter? And so some very advanced wallet software will let you say, okay, I want to send some Bitcoin here, some Bitcoin here, some Bitcoin, and you can get right into it. And so you can control that very granularly.
Yeah.
Is that English?
I think so.
Yeah, close enough. And so you can get very granular and control that. And so there's some more information about the Bitcoin transaction, how big the transaction is, the textual size. Remember how we saw that diagram of all the different sizes? This is saying, look, my transaction takes up 222 bytes. Yep. That's how big my transaction is because it's going to be encoded in the blockchain and stored on everybody's node forever. And so it's saying that's how big it is. Again, we've been 14 minutes since the next block. Again, downside of a leaderless system, and there's no control over block time here.
Now you can see, if you click on that block, you can see that your transaction's sitting in there waiting, so if it does get confirmed.
My transaction's not in a block yet.
Oh, it's
my
not
transaction's still in the mempool. This is an estimated block here. This is a visualization.
Yeah.
But right now, you can think of this whole the whole left half of the screen as one big
bus. Yeah.
All the people waiting for the bus. Yeah. This is the bus we think is going to come. This is what we think the bus is going to look like.
But do you know if your transaction's in that bus in case it comes? Like if you're in a line that you're going to make the bus?
Mempool is estimated. There's no guarantees.
Yep.
Mempool is estimating that I'm going to be on this bus.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
So Mempool is saying, right now, the bidding for being on this bus, this block, is 32. That's the multiplier. You paid 35, okay? Yeah. And so because you paid 35, you're in great shape to get on the next bus, sir. Okay? But you're not actually on a bus. You're not confirmed yet. But let's take a look at the last bus. And we'll go back. And again, you can see there was the same numbers here. Founder USA, they made $316,000. And this is the expected block. This is what everybody thought it was going to look like, and this is what it actually looked like. These are all the people on the bus, and these are your standard. Here it is. Your standard Bitcoin transactions here, very small. And so and then if you want, you can go and see all 6,000 transactions on the bus. Here they all are. This is all 6,000, and it's totally public. It's now kept on every single node, and that information is public and widely available. And so let's go back to our transaction. Let's keep an eye on it. One other thing you can watch for too is if you find that there's lots of people trying to get on the bus and it hasn't, your transaction isn't confirming and you're getting bounced. Most modern wallet software, while you're waiting in line in the mempool, your transaction is actually editable. So you can go in and say, I want to up my bid, I want to up my fee. And some wallets will call it bump fee or increase fee or speed up transaction. Because while your transaction's unconfirmed, it's editable. And that technology is called RBF. You might say called RBF, but that's a complicated term for editable. And it's important to know that while your transaction's unconfirmed, or if you're receiving an unconfirmed transaction, it can be changed. I can change the fee, I can change the recipient. So I could say, actually, I want the recipient to be another one of my Bitcoin address, sorry. So you don't have anything until your transaction's confirmed. And in some cases, especially if you're dealing with a pool that defines lots of blocks, you want a lot of blocks. You want a lot of confirmations. You want to be 6 buses ago. If you're doing a house or a major deal, you don't want to just wait for 1 bus. You want to be like, no, I'm way back. I'm definitely done. There's some technical reasons for that, but we won't get right in there. So we're still waiting. It's been 17 minutes since the last block. There's nothing we can do to speed this up, by the way. The only thing we can do is keep an eye and make sure that we are still estimated to get on the next bus. That's the only thing we can do. So we can just, wait a couple minutes here.
So that's the bus that already came. And on the screen here, we're looking at all these different dots. These are different sizes. When I open up and I click on a big one, where the heck did this, was this just some random dude who's like, oh, I want to send Bitcoin to all of these damn addresses, or what is that? Is it a Lightning Network closing on a channel, or?
So yeah, let's take a look at this transaction here. So this is, you picked a big one. This transaction took up a lot of space in the blockchain. If we scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see it's taking 5.6 kilobytes. Okay, so 5,600 bytes instead of, I think it was 22 or something. It was much smaller. So this is a big transaction. Okay, it's referencing one bill, one previous transaction. So it's got one bill, or it's called UTXO, is the technical term. One bill that has 0.56 Bitcoin. And so we've got a lot of Bitcoin here. And he's paying out to 166 Bitcoin addresses. He is doing this massive payout to all of these Bitcoin addresses. So what could this be? What is this?
Why are some red and some are green?
The red ones have already been spent.
Okay.
So it's, even though this is only the last bus, these have already now been moved on. They're back in line waiting to get confirmed again. So the red ones have already been spent. The green ones are still unspent. They're still sitting where they are. So you can also see there's different types of Bitcoin addresses. You've got BC1Qs, you've got 3s, you've got ones that start with 1s. So over the years, there's been lots of different types of Bitcoin addresses, and you can see different types here. And so based on my assessment of these addresses, because they're all different addresses, different address types, all different amounts, all these very weird different amounts, I would expect that this is a Bitcoin exchange. This is an exchange that is processing withdrawals on behalf of their customers. In this 10-minute window, they had 166 withdrawals to 166 different customers, and they made one big transaction with all of them. That's the most efficient way to do it, because you have a bit of header and footer with every transaction. I'd be willing to bet that this is some centralized exchange processing withdrawals, because you've got all different types of address types, all different types of wallets, all different amounts. And then some of the customers have already spent it, some of the customers haven't. And so because of that, it's looking like one custodian sending out to a bunch of recipients. If you see, a whole bunch of different very similar looking addresses, you're like, it's sending to a bunch, it looks like it's all the same person. You can sort of make these assessments, but you don't really know at the end of the day, right? I have no idea what I'm looking at, right? I don't actually know. Now, some people try to tag addresses, so they might say, no, this is Binance. And some websites, they try to get more information about the different websites, and they try to tag them. And so you'll see that where they, they've tagged and said, no, that is a Binance withdrawal address. And so you can't, but there's really no way to know officially. You have to be a blockchain analytics firm that's doing this kind of analysis to know exactly what it is. So this is, again, leaderless system. One of the benefits of Liquid and Lightning is that you do both Liquid and Lightning eliminates the randomness of block times. Liquid has blocks every 60 seconds on the clock. That's a managed system. And Lightning doesn't have blocks. The transactions are instant. They either instantly confirm, they instantly come back to you if there's some issue. And so that's sort of the service standards on both of those networks. Whereas Bitcoin on-chain doesn't trade off security or other features. It's firm, it's truth. There's no counterparties involved.
Oh,
Excellent news. So went right across there just now. Block number 870910 was discovered by Marapool. Thank God it wasn't the same as the last two. That would not make us look too good here. And now it has one confirmation. Okay, and so now this transaction is forever. It's now been encoded into the blockchain. Now the miners are working to discover the next block that's built on. Every block also references the previous block.
Yep.
So the fact that this block, we know this block has been accepted because all the miners in the world are now trying to build the next block on top of it. And so that's the sort of litmus test is your block has been accepted because now all the miners, all their templates are now referencing the block before it, right? Perfect. And so now this is the block. You know, generally this block will always be the block. There are some weird things that can happen, but generally this block is now confirmed, and you can consider this transaction complete, especially if it's from yourself to yourself. Yeah, the transaction is complete. So now the only thing that's really changed here is you know, now it's now included. The transaction says it was included in this block. That will not change. Yep. You can see the fees around this block were about 36 as the multiplier. It has one confirmation. So let's go back to our wallet software. Excellent news. And we can see here it's been confirmed. Oh, I think I might actually have two confirmations. Okay, great. Anyway, it's confirmed now. So now instead of being yellow, it's green. And we now know, okay, this transaction is not pending. It can't be edited. It can't be changed. It's final. And now we also have the ability to spend this Bitcoin, which is what we're getting at here. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to, how are we going to send? We'll hit send. So we're in our wallet here. Yeah.
I was going to ask is, can you send that to a Satoshi's address, to a Lightning address? Oh, wow, okay.
Sure, we can send it to, why don't we send it to Satoshi's address? I'll show you what that looks like. So let's go on to mempool and let's click on a block. Okay.
I meant a Lightning Network address. You can send that to.
No, you can't send it to.
But I was wondering if I could get into the sats, if there was an easy way to convert that with the Jade wallet or the software.
No, so the Jade wallet is an on-chain or liquid wallet only, so it can only send on-chain to on-chain. Okay. So what you can do is some wallets, Lightning wallets, offer the service. So if I go into like wallet of Satoshi as an example, I can hit receive. And I can say, okay, give me a Bitcoin address. And these guys will give me an on-chain Bitcoin address and then instantly for a 1% fee, convert it into my Lightning wallet.
Oh, no way.
It's a service built into it. Yeah, it's a service. So if you have a wallet.
You want Phoenix? Does Phoenix
I believe Phoenix does it too, yeah.
So I got Primal, so I can just hit receive.
Yeah, hit receive.
Oh, wow. So
there you go. So now you see your Bitcoin address there.
Yeah, so I come into my Primal wallet and I hit this one right here, which is your receive.
Yep.
You come down to here, click the Bitcoin logo. Got a Bitcoin address.
And so we'll use the camera built into the computer to scan it in just a second.
Sweet.
So we'll just leave that up on your phone. We'll go back into my Jade wallet here. And again, the main functionality here is I can see my transactions, I can send and I can receive. Now we've received, we have 25 bucks. And let's hit send. So we're going to hit send. And now this opens up here. And the first thing it's going to ask me for is the address. So let's hit scan. It's going to ask me, and it'll be up here on this camera here. Okay. I just allowed it access. Just give it 1 second. Try it one more time here. Boom. Just like that.
Instant. Holy
cow.
Now,
whenever we're sending Bitcoin, we always want to double check the address. Oh, it's super, super important. And so this address ends in JAVX45MG. And so is that what you're seeing on your phone too?
No, sir.
Just like sending a email, you double check your recipients, right? When you send an email, you can't take it back. When you send Bitcoin, you can't take it back. Okay, we're doing 25 bucks here. Yeah, no matter. Not sure exactly what happened there. It might have just been some failure of the QR code.
I have a
privacy screen protector. Yes, may have changed slightly, but we want to double check. So again, the last few digits are SSD 3L73.
Correct.
Okay, that's what we're seeing. That's great. And if you're really moving a lot of money, you want to check all of the address, the entire one, because there are viruses that can do address swap outs, and the last 4 digits will be the same. The last 6 ones will be the same. They pre-generate a whole bunch of them.
Yep.
And so you want to check the whole thing, at least glance through it and make sure the address is right. Now for the amount, we're going to choose the amount here. So we have a couple options. We can type in a specific amount of Bitcoin. We can do US dollars, sats, or we can send all. Now we want to leave a little bit of change here for someone to snag. So let's do this. So let's go, we'll go sats, and let's send, let's do, we need to save some for the fee as well. So I'm going to send 5,000 Satoshis. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So we'll have $4.50 for the transaction. I think the fee is going to be about $13 right now, and that'll leave about $10 for somebody to snag. Okay, so obviously we're not being very efficient, but this is just a demo. And so 5,000 Satoshis, estimating $4.55. Now down here at the network fee here, so you see the network fee, it's estimating a fee of 44 US dollars. Okay, sorry, 44 cents. Okay, now before I send a Bitcoin transaction, the first thing I always do is I always go to mempool.space or any mempool explorer, because I want to see what's the bus schedule like right now. Okay, and for a low transaction, a low priority transaction, I should be paying $3.44 or $3.73 for a medium, or $3.85. Okay, so not all wallet software makes the best recommendation. They don't know what you're trying to do. Their recommendation might be, you're sending to yourself, you're doing, this will get confirmed, but it's not going to happen right away. And they might also be trying to protect you from paying. There might just be a spike happening right now, and they're like, well, just wait a few minutes. Like 44 cents is enough, So I always double check, and I like mempool.space. They've got a great estimation system. There's other websites out there too. But for the purpose of this demo, we want it to go through fast. So we're going to do a 30, a multiplier of 30, $3.85. That's a great fee, nice and low. So we're going to go to change speed. And here we go. See, we've got the different options. They're recommending a fast to be a 31. Remember, the fast here is a 30. So a 31, I'm going to take that deal. Or they're saying medium, 64 cents. And you can see 10 to 30 minutes, 2 hours, or 4 hours. And if you're sending to yourself, just go slow. There's no rush. Just wait until overnight when the network's slower. Right? But we want this demo to move fast, so we're gonna spend some sats here. We're gonna spend $4, and so we're gonna double check we're gonna take a look here again. SSD 317, 5,000 Satoshis of approximate value of $4.55, and a network fee of about $4. We're gonna hit next. Now this is the confirmation page. This is where you're really gonna double check everything. You're gonna see the entire Bitcoin address is not gonna get cut off or anything like that. You see the amount. You can add a note that will save in your local software. So if you want to have, for your tax records and stuff, you're going to pay a network fee, and we're going to hit confirm transaction. Okay. And as you can imagine now, because your wallet software has all this information, it knows everything, but it doesn't have your 12-word seed. So your wallet software has all the information it needs except the 12-word seed. It can't finish the transaction. And this is the magic. This is when we switch over. It knows about all your past transactions. It knows about everything, but it doesn't know your 12-word seed, the secret. It can't digitally sign the transaction to authenticate you to all the nodes and all the mempools that you are the rightful owner of this Bitcoin. And so now it says confirm the details on your hardware wallet. And so because we're still connected here, we never disconnected. There's no change or anything required, but we're going to take a look here, and you can see all the details. I can verify the amount. I'm sending 5,000 Satoshis, and I'm sending it to this Bitcoin address. It's really important that I verify. See how the address is scrolling across there? And let's just double check those last few letters, because what if there's a virus on this computer? No, there it is, SSD 31373, right there.
Go.
Okay.
Bingo.
So now I'm happy that the right amount of Bitcoin is going to the right place, because if there was a virus on my computer, they would change that and say, okay, we're going to send all your Bitcoin to my Bitcoin address, which you don't recognize. Okay. So again, I'll cycle through the options here. There's the X and there's the next here, and I'm going to click next on this. And I'm going to approve the transaction. Now, again, I'm already logged into my Jade, so I don't need to type in my PIN code or anything. If we weren't connected, it would prompt me to type in my password. And I hit send transaction, and that's it. And now what it did is it digitally, in that one click, signed the transaction using your 12-word seed and sent the completed transaction back to the computer, which it then has now sent out to the internet just like that.
Boom.
Super quick. Now, let's take a look on the blockchain. So let's copy the transaction ID, this long number here. And let's go to mempool and let's paste. And here's our transaction.
Beautiful.
Okay. And now it's on the public blockchain. Again, it's in the first position. It's ready to go. We attached an attractive fee, and within a few minutes, the transaction will be confirmed, and we're all done. And you can see this is the input. These are the outputs. You got 5,000 going there, and here's our change address. So for anybody watching, if you can steal the seed here, That's the Bitcoin address that we now want to watch. And that's 18,000 Satoshis are up for grabs.
There you guys go.
And you'll see it there. And if we go back into our Bitcoin wallet again, we received the Bitcoin. Only had 2 out of 6 confirmations, but you can spend it right away once you have a confirmation. And that new transaction will get confirmed, and you're all set.
It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like Google and Facebook. It's not like Apple and Amazon. Yeah. We can debate Apple or Amazon. What's better? They both look like tech monopolies to me. They both look pretty good. On the other end, Bitcoin or no, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's crypto asset.